Did you see any interesting things this past week? Welcome to the show. I'm Andrew Fazekas, the Night Sky Guy. Having a few technical difficulties here with the sound, but I hope it's coming through now. Thank you so much for joining me once again this week for another episode of The Night Sky this week for October 26, 2020. Last week of October. I can't believe it. We're heading into November and then the December, the end of the year. 2020 has been quite a year for all of us, hasn't it? Lots of challenges, that's for sure. But the night sky is there for us, as it is on any clear night. And I'm hoping you did do some stargazing. Did you see something this past weekend? Share with us your experiences, any questions. I've got the chat room open. I see folks from Milton, Ontario, from Sweden. We've got from Florida, Maria. Nice of you to join us too. Wherever you're calling and watching from, welcome to the show. I'm here every Monday at around 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook, on YouTube, and Twitch. Whichever platform you're watching, welcome. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow me as well on Facebook, whether on Facebook or YouTube, doesn't matter, or Twitch. We're here to talk about the night sky every week. I'm an actual sky watcher. I have been for many decades. I own over a dozen telescopes, but I still love doing unaided, naked eye astronomy, night sky watching just with the eye, maybe with a pair of binoculars. Love doing that. I've been working as a science communicator, specializing in astronomy for over 3 decades now, teaching at schools, adults, kids as young as 4 years old about the night sky, about space exploration. I've been writing for a lot of different publications like Astronomy Magazine, Popular Science Magazine. I've written for National Geographic. I've been associated with for over a decade. Very proud to be part of that wonderful organization and just spreading the goodness of the night sky in whatever way I can. And as an amateur astronomer, I love to do star parties as well. Of course, during this time of the pandemic, that's been a great challenge across the board for a lot of amateur backyard stargazers that are part of clubs. It is a definite challenge. But the night sky is always there for each of us, whether it's a family or as an individual, to bring us peace, solace, and some real amazing, wondrous objects to see. So why don't we dive in right off into the planetarium program and see what it has to offer. So here we are. We've got the planetarium program all set up for us for tonight. Let's do that right away. Here we go. I'm going to set this just after local sunset. So wherever you're watching from, here you go. You'll see right there, dominating night sky, and all week long is going to be the moon. The moon is going to really be just brilliant as it heads to its full moon phase on Saturday night, October 31st, Halloween night. Of course, Halloween this week, and it's going to be a special moon for Halloween because it will be what's called a blue moon. And a blue moon, in this case, the way it's described is that it's the second full moon of the month. So in October, beginning of October, we had our first full moon, and here we go again in the final day of the month of October, we have another full moon coming. But of course, on October 26th, today, Monday, if you're watching this in the future, of course, this is archived. 26th of October, Monday, this is where the moon was in the southeast sky. And if you're watching us live, this is what you can expect tonight, the full moon. And then you can see off to the far left of the moon is a brilliant orange star. That is, in fact, planet Mars. And Mars will be rising in the east. And we just came off on October 13th of Mars in opposition, which means that right now, and it has been for the last few weeks, at its most brightest and biggest in backyard telescopes, Mars is. So you got to get out and watch that. That's a beautiful orange star. You've probably seen it with the naked eye, but through a telescope, you really get to see the surface of Mars. So that is something really cool. I'm getting folks from St. Louis, Kimberly, joining us. Diego from Fresno, California, joining us. Welcome. And this is really the view that we'll get this evening, Monday night. And as you can see, as it gets darker, you'll see that the faint stars of the constellation Pisces, the zodiacal constellation, is where Mars is embedded, and the moon is going to be in the constellation of Aquarius on Monday night. But if we move it forward, next few days, like Tuesday night, the moon will move away from Aquarius, heading towards the moon. Wednesday, and look, by Thursday, the moon, you can see, has parked itself very close to the planet Mars. So this is an absolutely beautiful sight to be able to see Mars and the moon, the near full moon. We call it technically a waxing gibbous moon because it's waxing. It's getting larger in the disk, that part of the disk that's illuminated, and that's why we call it waxing, and gibbous because most of the moon, more than half of it, is illuminated, the disk. We call that a gibbous phase. So this is a waxing gibbous moon heading towards a full moon on Halloween night. And before we head there on Thursday, we will have this beautiful sight. This is October 29th. October 29th, Thursday, mark that on your calendar. You'll see Mars and the moon together in the eastern sky, rising together. Just a absolutely beautiful, beautiful view. So you don't want to miss that. And of course, looking at Mars up close through a telescope won't disappoint. High magnification for a backyard telescope is what you're looking for. So change out your eyepieces to ones that give you high magnification. And this is sort of the view that you would get through a backyard telescope. This is a really beautiful view because you get to see some of the surface markings. You'll be able to see some dark markings and light patches, dark patches. The dark patches are the windswept mountainous areas on Mars, while the deserts of Mars are more light colored. And if you look very closely at the bottom, this is the south pole of the moon. You'll see a little white patch. If you look very carefully and you have steady enough seeing, good high magnification, patience for this. You need a lot of patience. You'll be able to see a little white patch. Now I'll zoom in much more than what you can through a telescope just to show you clearly what this white patch is. We're looking at the south pole of Mars. That is the carbon dioxide frozen south pole of Mars. And that is visible through a backyard telescope as a little white patch. That's what you'll see through a backyard telescope. And that's amazing to think that we're looking at the South Pole. The South Pole filled with carbon dioxide ice. Very interesting, a treat, an early Halloween treat for you sky watchers, with the moon parked next to Mars. Really fascinating, beautiful view. Now, moving on ahead, what you'll notice is by Friday and then Saturday, the moon for Halloween will be parked next to another planet. In this case, it's called Uranus. Uranus is the 7th planet from the sun, and it is quite far away. It's called an ice giant, an ice kind of gassy giant, and it is 2.8 billion kilometers away, and it takes light over 156 minutes to reach your eye from Uranus. And Uranus will be at opposition, meaning on October 31st, Halloween night, Uranus reaches what's called opposition. This means that for us sky watchers, just like Mars was in opposition a couple of weeks ago, Uranus is going to have its turn of being at opposition. So what that means for us is, if I do this, go into an orbital view, let's see if we can pop this open and see what it looks like. We're going to show the planet orbits like so, and we'll zoom out. You can see those are the rings, the faint smoky like rings of Uranus and its moons, 5 little moons that orbit. We're going to zoom out. These lines that you're seeing on the screen are the orbits of the planets around the sun, and I'm just going to point there, looking from above. If we could magically look at the solar system from above, you'll see where Uranus is and where all the planets are. As you can see, let me see if I can get this like so. And there you see, if you look carefully, you'll see Earth here at the bottom. I'm going to put it like that a little bit more so that it's a little bit easier in terms of perspective. So here we have the sun. We have the little Earth. That's that little green blue dot there. We have Mars off to the side. There, it's the red. That's the orbit, that the track that the planets follow. That's Mars's track. And then way out in the distance is Uranus. And you see from our line of sight, we have the sun, Earth, and Uranus. So Uranus is opposite in the sky from the sun, from our vantage point here on Earth. So what does that mean? Uranus is at opposition. So as the sun sets in the west, Uranus is going to rise in the east. And it'll be at its biggest in the sky and brightest in our skies at opposition. This is Halloween night. So you can see if I zoom out here, again, you see the sun, the Earth, and Uranus way out here at the edge of the solar system, 2.8 billion kilometers away from the Earth. And here we go. We magically go back to earthly skies. Here we are. And that is the view on Halloween night. You're going to see the full moon rising in the east, and above it, this is now magnitude 5.7 is Uranus. So that is technically visible to the naked eye, but under the most pristine skies that Earth has to offer, would you be able to have a chance of seeing Uranus? With binoculars, however, it's an easy target. So what you're looking for is the full moon. Of course, the glare of the full moon is something you'll battle with, but with binoculars, this will help. And just to the upper right of the full moon will be Uranus, right there from the moon. Now, how far away are the two going to be? Well, from the moon, it's about 5 degrees away. So how much is that? Well, if I hold out my hand, my 3 middle fingers, okay, at arm's distance like that, this width between my 3 fingers here are about equal to about 5 degrees in the sky that I'm talking about. The distance. This will be the separation between the moon and Uranus. So if you have the moon underneath and you put your arm out like this, as I'm doing, stretched out, that is the separation between Uranus and the moon. So that's what you want to look for with binoculars of the moon. So you can sweep up with binoculars, and in fact, it should be just within the same field of view as a standard pair of binoculars will show you that field of view. So if I zoom in on my planetarium program again, like that, you'll see something that's equal to what it would look like, right? So you can see here, right, like that, about equal. So it's just to the upper right of the moon, as you can see right there. There is Uranus. So that is what you're looking for in terms of Uranus. And it'll look like a green disc, a tiny little disc through backyard telescopes, and through binoculars, it'll look like a green colored star, definitely. And it'll be the only green colored star, the brightest one in that star in that part of the sky. So check that out. That's on Halloween night. Of all nights is when Uranus will be at opposition. Some little extra added treat. And of course, you know, we mentioned the full moon, right? We mentioned the full moon rising on October 31st, okay, Saturday. The full moon would rise soon after sunsets. And some of the best times to see the full moon is very close to the horizon. So in that, in those time periods, I'm moving back in time. So if I can go, let's say, an hour back in time, and then move forward after a few minutes. As the sky begins to darken every minute, wherever you are, you'll see that moon rising above your local eastern horizon. As the sun sets in the west, you'll see it really beautiful on the eastern sky. So Christelle says, I think about sausages. Sausages fingers. Okay, I see. Right, with the three middle fingers. That's right. So the orbital view is very nice, Michelle. I know. Debbie, welcome. Also to you too. Hello from St. Louis, from Kimberly. Blue moon, yes. And so that is what this is going to be. So again, what is the blue moon in this case? Why are we calling this the blue moon? Well, it's because it's the second full moon of the month in the month that's happening. So when you have two full moons in the calendar month, that's by definition what we call the second one is known as a blue moon. So it doesn't really look blue. Now I've had questions from people ask, can the moon actually look blue? Yes, it can. There are actually events like smoke particles in the upper atmosphere, say like the forest fires out in the western part of North America. There is a chance that those smoke particles can shift the light of the moon towards the blue part of the spectrum. So maybe perhaps the full moon, as it's sitting high up in the sky in areas where there are smoke particles, it could look blue. Also, the potential is to look more orange. During the moonrise particularly, when you see the moon close to the horizon like you do here in this animation, graphic here, you would see the moon more orangey hued. You're not seeing it in this graphic, but it can look more hued towards yellow or orange or red. And that's because of a lot of particulate matter in the atmosphere. So there can be a lot more dust floating around in the atmosphere, and you're looking through a very thick column of air. Remember, looking at near the horizon, you're looking through a thicker column of air, and so there is a shift. There's a lot of a shift to the red part of the spectrum. It's the same physics that's going on with how sunsets appear and sunrises may appear more orangey and reddish in nature. So this is really cool to be able to see the full moon rise any month. This month, it's a little bit more creepy. It's the blue moon. We haven't had a moon land on Halloween night since 1944 is what I read. And it won't happen again for at least 15 years, I think. So this is something really cool to be able to see this, is that beautiful full moon rising. It also happens to be called the hunter's moon when the full moon is near the time period of the hunting season in North America. That's traditionally going back into the Farmer's Almanac, that definition. And this is also called a micro full moon. What is that? That's something interesting. Micro full moon means, well, we've heard of super moons where the moon is unusually large because it's a little bit closer to us. Well, this full moon is actually very close to the point of its farthest point away from the Earth. So we here you can see, we'll go out to the orbital view again. I know you guys like to see the orbital view, so we're gonna switch to that. And here's the orbital view of the moon, and zoom out a little bit so you can see where it is in connection with the Earth. There we are. And so the moon is, and I'm going to put out the orbital view. Let's see if I can do that for the moon. There we are. So you can see, if we kind of magically looked from above the plane of the orbit of the Earth and the moon, you'll see that the moon is a little bit lopsided. That one side of the orbit is a little bit longer distance from Earth than the other. So now the moon is at pretty much close to its farthest point from the Earth, which means that we'll see the full moon much smaller than usual. Isn't that interesting? Much smaller than usual. So if we look out to the sun, you can see where the sun is in comparison. It's behind, right? There's the sun, there's the Earth. And as I showed you, the moon is opposite to the sky where the sun is. And that's when we get a full moon. Obviously, the full face of the moon is being illuminated. So And for sky watchers, that means we see this beautiful silvery orb dominating the night sky. So this is what will greet you on Saturday, Halloween night, as those little goblins and devils go out trick-or-treating. This is something really cool, looking towards these. And of course, as the night progresses, the moon will travel higher in the sky with its friend Uranus by its side there. And so it'll be a more interesting sight 2-3 hours after sunset. Once darkness falls, the moon will be higher in the sky. So really, really beautiful thing to see. Now, if we move forward again in time to Sunday night, past the full moon, this is November 1st. Can't believe we're already talking about November. Look where the moon is. The moon is parked in the constellation Taurus. So this is a very neat thing because it will be right next to this beautiful star cluster called the Pleiades star cluster. I've talked about this before. It's one of my favorite deep sky objects. It's basically a clustering of bright stars huddled together, physically associated with each other. They were born out of the same cloud millions of years ago. They're young stars, maybe teenagers in terms of lifetime of a star, which can be measured in hundreds of millions to billions of years. And by the way, our sun, our home sun, is about 5 billion years old. So these are really youngsters at only a few million years old, the Pleiades stars are. And they're huddled together. About 7 of them are clearly visible to the naked eye as a little faint cluster, a very tight cluster in our skies. And so these teenage stars, Kimberly, are next to the near full moon on Sunday. And below that is the bright star Aldebaran that you can see here, which marks the eye of the bull, Taurus the bull. So with binoculars, again, look to the left, the far left. Scan with those binoculars to the far left of the moon because there'll be quite a glare coming from the moon. It would make it a challenge for the naked eye observation of Pleiades star cluster, but with binoculars, an easy sight just to the left of that bright moon. Again, rising in the east. If you wait a little bit more, you're patient after sunset, as the skies get truly dark and the moon moves up higher in the sky, look to the left. As you can see, it doesn't matter when you look at night, an hour later or maybe even farther. I'll zoom out here, an hour later. You see everything's rising in the east, and of course they also end up setting in the west, but near dawn. But you have all night to look at this, so you're not really relegated to looking at this like as soon as darkness falls. Just wait. The longer you wait at night, the more patient you are, the higher in the sky the moon and the Pleiades star cluster will get, also known as M45, as you're marked here, the Messier 45 object. That's the technical name for the Pleiades, the catalog name. But next to the moon in the constellation Taurus, this pairing will be absolutely beautiful in your night skies. Again, November 1st, Sunday. This Sunday, November 1st, this will greet you in the skies. Now, what else is going on? There is one more thing I wanted to, before I left. It's called, let me see if I can get this on here in my search engine. I know, this is like on the fly. Let's see if I can get this. But there is another meteor shower that will be joining us. It's called the Southern Taurids. And it's not really, it's not the most magnificent kind of shower that you can see. But I'll mark it off here on my thing, and you can see it's going to be there. It will be actually not peaking, luckily, when the moon is there, but when the moon is off to the side. So very near Mars. So on October 29th, which is Thursday, when the moon is near Mars, you'll see the Southern Taurids peaking, again, in the constellation Taurus. That's where it gets its name, this meteor shower. expect somewhere around 5 to 15 shooting stars per hour. We don't know exactly quite how much. It's usually centered around 10 shooting stars per hour, 10 meteors per hour at peak times. So when is peak time? It's really late at night. So around local midnight to 2 o'clock in the morning, Wednesday and Thursday night this week, October 28th and 29th, is when your best bet is to look for Taurid meteor showers. So if you're seeing shooting stars while you're looking at that moon near Mars, you can bet that's probably a Taurid meteor associated with the southern Taurid meteor shower. As you can see, this is the radiant. If you actually look at the individual shooting stars and you kind of trace back their movement in the sky, as you can see, they appear to radiate out from one point in the sky. And in this case, that's the Taurids. The Taurid meteor shower appears to come from the constellation Taurus the Bull. That's where it gets its name. And it's not a crazy intense shower by any means, but it's a lot of fun to look at. You'll probably see some shooting stars. The moon will be there close by. I know it will block out all the fainter ones. But sometimes there's some things called fireballs. These are baseball, basketball-sized stones that are much bigger than the sand grain size from what most meteors are, and they become unusually bright. We call them fireballs or bolides. And whenever you have a shower, a meteor shower, there's more chances of you seeing these unusually bright meteors, these fireballs. That's because we're heading through a cloud of material in space. Earth is slamming into this cloud of material, and so there's chances for larger stones to burn up in Earth's upper atmosphere, making this a fun time to look for shooting stars. So while it's not ideal because, of course, the near full moon will be there glaring away very close by, don't be surprised if you see some shooting stars in the skies above you middle of this week. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. There was a lot of stuff we packed in. We're talking about the full moon, called the micro harvest blue moon for Halloween. That's a mouthful. We talked about Mars and the moon being together, very close to each other. Moon paying a visit to the Pleiades star cluster, which, by the way, I did mention is 150 light years away. That star cluster blows your mind. I know, it's incredible. You can see all kinds of things. Taurus the Bull is there. And of course, the meteor shower. You can see some really cool things with Mars too, with a small backyard telescope if you had it. Something for the naked eye, something for binoculars, something for small telescopes. It's a jam-packed week. And what a way to end October, right, guys? I mean, Cynthia, Marcia, Alexandra, Jeremy, thank you so much for joining me. All of you guys, I'm going to be reading through your posts. If you have any questions, do put them into the chat here, into the comments, whether you're watching on Facebook and YouTube or Twitch. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm here every week live streaming. Please do hit that subscribe button if you like this video. Do follow me on Facebook. Share this video with your network and friends. I appreciate that. Let's get the word out about looking at the night sky and all the goodness that brings us. Some peace and serenity and some calmness in these crazy times that we live in, right? So thank you so much for joining. And of course, if you're interested in looking into more about the night sky, learning about astronomy and observing the heavens above, do check out my book, Backyard Guide to the Night Sky. I have a poster right here. It's available wherever books are sold. It's put out by National Geographic, so you know that it is quality. It's got beautiful images. I've packed it with sky charts that have a lot of practical value so that you can figure out how to buy a telescope, how to use binoculars, how to know where to find these beautiful sky gems out there. Whether it's with the naked eye or with a backyard telescope, doesn't matter. This book is really jam-packed, filled. I filled it with all the goodness and things that I've learned for over many years. So check that out. It's available wherever books are sold online. I'll put a link below there. And of course, just a disclaimer: I have a little arrangement with Amazon. If you buy it through Amazon, I may get a few pennies for that. Appreciated. And if you like and follow like this video, follow me, subscribe to me. I hope you stay safe and healthy. And join me next week. I'll be right here talking more about what the night sky has to offer. And believe it or not, we are going to be in the month of November. I know, it's unbelievable, guys. So stay safe and healthy. And until next time, I wish all of you guys clear skies. Bye-bye.